Did you know about ancient civilizations? The Indus Valley Civilization spanned the region around the Indus River and included areas known today as Western India and Pakistan. Factors like trade, farming, peaceful coexistence, and common practices played a vital part in its development. And sustainability. The civilization's growth occurred around 3000 BC, making it one of the earliest discovered and documented civilizations. Perhaps its significant rise can be attributed to its location along a calm, reliable water supply. Rivers proved extremely useful for ancient civilizations. They provided a great source of fresh water and areas to hunt and gather food. When they flooded, they left behind nutrient-rich silt, and this fertile soil was great for agriculture. In the case of the Nile and Indus rivers, annual flooding allowed for growing crops in mass quantities, enough to feed a growing population. Rivers were also a natural, fast transport system for both transportation of goods and migrations of people. The Indus Valley Civilization had begun as simple farming villages and later developed into advanced urban centers with well-developed city structures. These developments aided the rise in population as well as the adoption of economic activities like trade, which further aided the growth of these cities. By 2600 BC, the Indus Valley Civilization was flourishing. Everything we know about the Indus Valley Civilization comes from archaeology. It remains the largest ancient civilization discovered, with over 1,500 sites. A likely writing system has been identified, though it remains an unsolved mystery, as historians and linguists have yet to decipher how to read it. Through archaeological artifacts, we can paint a picture of what life might have been like. The Indus Valley Civilization revolved around two prime cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Large-scale excavations were carried out at Mohenjo-daro under the direction of John Marshall, Ernest Mackay, and numerous other directors in the 1930s. These cities, like most in the Indus Valley Civilization, showed clear indications of prior urban planning with straight roads, elaborate drainage systems, and strong, durable buildings. Houses in these cities were made of brick, either baked mud or wood bricks. These were made by skilled craftsmen who produced every brick the same size. There was an advanced water supply and sanitation system, providing a clean environment for the community. With obvious hygiene benefits, dwellings in these cities had private toilets connected to wider public drains. They used gravity to transport waste, and the drains were covered by ornately laid bricks. The sewer network emptied into surrounding watercourses and cesspits that were regularly emptied and cleaned. Both Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were fortified by large, robust walls, supposedly for protection from invaders or wild animals. However, due to the close proximity of rivers, it's more likely these walls were designed for flood control. Mohenjo-daro had two districts, the citadel evidently for the upper class and the lower town for ordinary citizens, although evidence suggests relative equality amongst citizens. As all streets were well drained, the city remained dry and clean, thereby reducing the potential for disease. One of the most opulent features of the Indus Valley Civilization can be found at Mohenjo-daro. Historians and archaeologists named it the Great Bath. There is no true consensus among historians on the purpose of this Great Bath, but some historians have speculated it was used for religious practices, perhaps as a spiritual cleansing ritual for those who bathed in it. The spiritual beliefs of the Indus Valley Civilization remain inconclusive. However, it's believed they honored nature, especially water, which has similarities with present-day Hindu beliefs. The population of these cities reached around 30,000 to 60,000 individuals, and during the civilization's peak, the population of the subcontinent grew to between 4 to 6 million people. This large population was sustained by the Indus River basin and subsequent biannual flooding. The inhabitants created a minimum of 16 reservoirs and developed a collection system based on harvesting rainwater. This environment was perfect for farming crops, like wheat and barley, providing a surplus of food stored in granaries. Watercourses also provided fish and other crustaceans. They farmed many herding animals like bulls, cattle, buffaloes, and elephants. One of the most interesting aspects of the Indus Valley Civilization is how they traded. artifacts have been uncovered of seals made from clay or ceramics. Although these seals contained writings that remain undeciphered, they depicted images of animals that may have been used as identification marks. One of the most famous seals is known as the Pashupati seal. It depicts a man with a horned headdress surrounded by a buffalo and a tiger, along with elephants and deer. Often debated by archaeologists and historians, it may suggest the representation of a deity. Some surmise that this seal is one of the earliest depictions of the Hindu god Shiva, who is associated with yoga and regarded as a lord of animals. Evidence has been found that the Indus Valley Civilization traded beyond their region, as numerous seals were found in Mesopotamia as early as 3500 BC. Traders carried a seal used as proof of their trade. They utilized standardized measures for weights, made from limestone. There was no metallic money. Instead, a barter system was used. One of the recorded trading partners of the Sumerian states was the Indus Valley Civilization. They called it Balua. It's not known if this was their title or a name attributed to them by the Sumerians. Cotton was one of the most important products for trade, but other items, for example jewelry and animals, were also exported. Evidence exists of a bead-making factory at the site of Mohenjo-daro, whereas the site of Lothal is speculated to be a dockyard, providing ships to transport goods via sea routes. We know the Indus Valley Civilization were accomplished builders, traders, and farmers. We can also interpret other findings discovered and decode how they lived their daily lives. Just as archaeologists in the future might uncover iPads and smartphones and surmise how we live today, findings discovered by archaeologists have unearthed many toys and educational artifacts. Terracotta toys found at most Indus settlements offer a glimpse of pastimes that might have involved trained animals. Ox carts with movable parts are perhaps the most common. Through the discovery of the bronze statuette, the poorly named dancing girl, we can also see an aspect of their culture. Another interesting sculpture found at Mohenjo-daro is the so-called priest king. The sculpture is made out of soapstone, a type of metamorphic rock, showing a neatly bearded man with pierced earlobes. There is a fillet around his head, possibly all that's left of a once elaborate hairstyle or headdress. His hair is combed back. He wears an armband and a uniquely designed cloak. There is no evidence that priests or monarchs ruled Mohenjo-daro, and we still don't know who the statue represented. A priest? A king? Or just a prestigious person? What caused the downfall of this great civilization is still debated. Clearly, no defined answer currently exists, but there are many theories. Most researchers concur that due to the gradual decline, the demise was either due to the climate of the region changing or the river changing course as a result of tectonic variation. This dramatic weather change to a dry, cold climate would have decreased food production and productivity. Over this extended period of decline, many of the population would have migrated to find more sustainable land for farming and survival. Weapons have not been found, nor artwork depicting warfare, thus leading to the conclusion that they were a peaceful civilization. There is no evidence that any city was ever burned or besieged by an army, or taken over by force from within. What we do know is that during this period of decline, many features like writing, the use of standardized measurements, and trade began to disappear. Many of their great urban settlements were gradually abandoned. At around 1500 BC, the Indus Valley Civilization finally came to an end, and as a result, the cities slowly became ruins. It was not until the 20th century, when archaeological digs were conducted, that this fascinating civilization was uncovered. Without written sources or documents available,